Captain Leora Hale stood on the bridge of the human starship Aurora's Path, watching the soft glow of the Aurelian capital world rise on the view screen. The light of the planet was gentle, almost golden, like a quiet sunrise across dark space. Many humans said the Aurelians were a wise and peaceful species, patient with the mistakes of younger civilizations. But Leora knew the truth was more complicated. Humans were new to the galactic stage, and the Aurelian conquered saw them as bold, emotional, and unpredictable. The alliance between them was fragile. One wrong move could break trust that had taken years to build. Leora had been sent to protect that trust. She took a slow breath and looked around the bridge. Her crew was skilled, loyal, and ready, but one person drew her attention more than the rest: Dr. Elias Venn, the ship's lead astrophysicist. He stood near the sensor station, studying the readings with quiet focus. He always moved slowly, as if each motion was deliberate. His calm presence balanced her sharp leadership. Elias was different from most scientists Leora had met. He was brilliant, yes, but he was also gentle in a way that felt unusual in a field known for cold logic. He spoke softly, smiled rarely, and always listened with full attention. Some people said he had a strange ability to feel the stars, like he understood them not only through data, but through intuition. The Aurelian diplomats found him confusing. They expected humans to be loud and aggressive. Instead, Elias was warm and patient, which unsettled them even more. "Captain," Elias said, turning toward her, "we are 5 minutes from the border station. There's a small energy fluctuation coming from the nearby nebula." "Normal?" she asked. "Not exactly," he replied. "But nothing dangerous. I'll keep monitoring." Leora nodded. With the conquered watching closely, even small things mattered. One mistake, one misunderstood action, could cause political trouble. She needed everything to go smoothly. The ship slowed as it approached the Aurelian station. Holographic lights shimmered in patterns to show docking paths. The Aurelians loved order. They loved tradition. They loved quiet routines that humans often struggled to follow. Leora stood straight, her uniform perfect, her expression calm. First impressions were everything. When the docking completed, she led her team into the station's main hall. Tall Aurelian officials waited, their long figures dressed in flowing silver robes. Their skin had a faint shine, like moonlit metal. Their eyes glowed pale blue. One of them stepped forward. "Captain Leora Hale," he said. His voice echoed softly. "We welcome you. The Conquered is watching this mission with great interest." Leora bowed slightly, respectful but confident. "Thank you. My crew and I look forward to strengthening our cooperation." The Aurelian's gaze drifted to Elias, who stood quietly behind her. He bowed too, slower and more graceful than expected. "You are Dr. Elias Venn," the Aurelian said, "the human whose work with stellar patterns has confused many of our researchers." Elias smiled a little. "Confused in a good way, I hope." The Aurelian tilted his head. "We will see." Leora hid her amusement. The Aurelians never understood human humor. The meeting continued for several hours. Discussions about border safety, shared research, and new exploration routes filled the room. Leora handled each topic with steady confidence. The Aurelians respected her clarity and discipline, but every time Elias spoke, the room shifted. The Aurelians focused on him with cautious interest. They did not know what to make of his soft voice or the way he explained complex ideas with simple warmth. In their culture, calmness came from centuries of age and deep meditation. Seeing it in a young human unsettled them. After the meeting ended, Leora and her team returned to the Aurora's Path. When the doors closed behind them, she let out a tired breath. "Well," she said, "that went better than expected." Lieutenant Mara grinned. You kept things smooth as always, Captain. Elias looked thoughtful. The Aurelians were uneasy. They're always uneasy, Mara replied. No, Elias said softly. Something else. Something deeper. Leora watched him. Explain. He hesitated for a moment as if searching for the right words. Their mind signatures felt stressed, like they were hiding a problem. Leora frowned. You mean politically? Or scientifically? Elias murmured. There's something happening near their capital. Something they don't want to admit. Before Leora could ask more, the ship's alarm chimed. A sharp tone filled the bridge. Captain, the navigator called from forward sensors. We are picking up an unusual energy spike inside the nebula near the capital world. It's growing fast. Elias moved to the console. His hands flew across the controls. This is the fluctuation I noticed earlier. It's changing. Changing how? Leora asked. He stared at the screen. It looks like a stellar ignition pattern. Leora blinked. A star? In that nebula? That's impossible. The gas density is too low. Yes, Elias said quietly. Which means something unnatural is happening. The navigator swallowed. Captain, the spike is increasing. If it continues, it could destabilize the region. Leora gave a sharp order. Open a channel to the Aurelian station. The screen lit up with the image of an Aurelian diplomat. His face was tense, his silver skin dimmer than before. You detected it too, Leora said. What is happening in the nebula? The Aurelian avoided her gaze. The Concord is evaluating the situation. You're hiding something, she replied. We're allies. We should work together. The Aurelian inhaled slowly. Captain Hale, please remain at your docking point. Do not interfere. The screen went dark. Leora stared at it, stunned. They just cut us off. Elias's voice was low but steady. They're scared. Whatever is happening, they don't know how to stop it. The readings grew stronger. The energy in the nebula twisted in chaotic patterns. Leora felt a chill. If this continued, the entire system could be in danger. She turned to Elias. Can you predict what's happening? He nodded, though his expression was troubled. I can try, but I'll need access to deeper sensor layers. The Aurelians won't give them to us. Then we do it ourselves, she said. Human sensors are strong enough. He met her eyes. You're taking a risk. Everything worth doing is a risk, she replied. As Elias worked, the bridge grew quiet. The crew watched him like he was performing delicate surgery. He adjusted frequencies, rewrote algorithms, listened to the soft hum of the ship as if it was telling him a secret. Finally, he spoke. This is not a natural ignition, he said. Something is pushing the nebula to form a star before it is ready. If the energy keeps building, it could collapse into a dangerous blast. How long do we have? Leora asked. Maybe days, maybe hours. The crew looked at each other in alarm. Leora stood firm. Can we stop it? Elias hesitated, then nodded. Yes, I believe I can. But I will need to try a method the Aurelians won't approve. A human method. And you're sure it can work? I am never sure, he said softly, but I can feel the pattern. It's not stable. It wants guidance, not containment. We can give it that. Leora placed a hand on his shoulder. Then I trust you. Elias looked at her with quiet surprise, as if her trust warmed him the way sunlight warms cold metal. And in that moment, the ship's screens lit up with a burst of energy from the nebula, bright, raw, and growing. The first sign of danger, the first sign that humanity's courage might be needed once again. Alarms echoed through the Aurora's path as the strange energy from the nebula kept rising. The lights on the bridge flickered with every spike. The crew moved quickly between consoles, their faces tense but focused. Captain Leora Hale stood in the center, steady as a rooted tree in a storm. Elias worked beside her, his fingers dancing over the controls with astonishing speed. The readings on the screen shifted from bright lines to chaotic waves. "It's accelerating faster than I predicted," he said. "The nebula is behaving like a star that wants to be born, but it's too soon. The pressure is unstable." Leora felt her throat tighten. "What happens if it ignites early?" Elias looked up, his eyes serious. "It will collapse into a micro-supernova, not large enough to destroy a galaxy, but big enough to erase the Concorde's capital system." Silence fell across the bridge. Even the ship seemed to hold its breath. Lieutenant Mara spoke first. "But the Aurelians must know this. Why aren't they acting?" "They're afraid to take risks," Leora said softly. "Their methods are old. Their traditions are strict." She turned to Elias. "What do they plan to do?" Elias checked the new data. "They are trying a containment shield. It's their safest method. But the energy output is too strong. The shield will only delay the collapse." "How long?" Leora asked. "Maybe 2 hours," he answered. "Maybe less." Mara cursed under her breath. "We can't just sit and watch a system die." Leora straightened. "We won't." She opened a channel to the Aurelian station. The screen flickered on, revealing the same diplomat from earlier. His silver skin looked dimmer now. His eyes glowed with a cold worry. "Captain Hale," he said quickly, "you must leave the system. The nebula is unstable. The Concorde will handle the situation." "With a containment shield?" Leora asked. "Yes," he replied sharply. "It is our way." "And it is going to fail," she said. The diplomat froze. His eyes narrowed. "You do not know that." But Elias stepped forward. "We do. The shield will collapse under the energy. You have less time than you think." The Aurelian's voice became strained. "Human intuition is not enough to question thousands of years of experience." "It's not intuition," Elias said softly. "It's physics." The Aurelian stared at him with a mix of confusion and discomfort. "Your presence here is no longer welcome. Leave the system immediately." The screen went dark again. The bridge crew looked at Leora. "What now, Captain?" Mara asked. Leora's answer was clear and firm. "We help, whether they want us to or not." Elias exhaled slowly. "Then I need full access to the ship's gravitational systems." "Granted," Leora said at once. "Tell us what you need." Elias moved to the center console, and a holographic model of the nebula appeared above the table. The glowing gas swirled like a storm in space. "This nebula wants to form a star," Elias said, "but not today. Something triggered an early ignition. I don't know what, but I do know this. Forcing it into a containment will only make it angry." "Angry?" Mara repeated. Elias smiled faintly. "That's the simplest word. A newborn star is like a wild current. It needs a path, not a prison." Leora listened carefully. She always understood Elias better than anyone. His science was deep, but his heart was deeper. When he spoke, it felt like he was describing not just the universe, but life itself. "So what do we do?" she asked. "We guide it," he said. "We create a gravitational tether, not to stop the star, but to shape its birth in a safe direction." The crew exchanged nervous glances. "That sounds dangerous," Mara whispered. "It is," Elias said calmly. "But humans take risks. That's our strength. Where others see fear, we see possibility." Leora nodded. "Then let's begin." The ship moved away from the station and toward the glowing nebula. The Aurelians sent warnings, commands to retreat, even threats of diplomatic consequences. Leora ignored all of them. The safety of billions of lives was more important than politics. The nebula looked like a burning cloud of blue and gold. It pulsed with waves of light, each brighter than the last, It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Elias stood at the main console and activated the gravity modules. A low hum vibrated through the ship. "I'm linking the gravitational lines," he said. "We must be careful. If we apply too much force, the nebula will collapse. Too little, and the ignition will continue." Leora moved closer to him. "You can do this." He did not look up, but his voice softened. "With your trust, yes." The hum grew louder. The ship trembled. "Gravitational tether at 20%, Mara reported. Elias analyzed the pattern. Increased to 30%. The nebula shifted. The energy wave steadied slightly. 35%, he said. Another pulse of light erupted from the nebula. The ship shook harder. 40%. The energy lines bent in a new direction, guided by the ship's gravitational pull. The nebula responded like a living thing. The star's early ignition slowed. The chaotic lines smoothed into a softer glowing spiral. The pressure around the core eased. "It's working," Elias whispered. "It's actually working." But before relief could settle, the entire ship jolted violently. Mara shouted, "The Aurelian containment shield collapsed!" A massive shock wave burst from the nebula's center, bright enough to blind sensors. Elias grabbed the console for balance. "The collapse increased the ignition pressure. We're losing control." "Hold the tether," Leora commanded. "We can guide it." Elias's hands moved fast, adjusting the gravitational lines like a musician tuning an instrument. Sweat dripped down his forehead. His calm voice hid the strain in his body. "The star is fighting me," he said through clenched teeth. "It's unpredictable now." Leora placed a steady hand on his shoulder. "Then don't fight back. Guide it, like you always do." Elias closed his eyes for 1 second. A breath. A moment of stillness. When he opened them, something changed. His voice became steady again. "Adjust the tether to 55%. Mara hesitated. "That might tear the ship apart." "It won't," Elias said. "Trust me." Leora nodded. "Do it." The ship groaned as the gravitational pull intensified. The metal plates vibrated. Sparks flickered from the ceiling. The newborn star inside the nebula began to twist along the path Elias shaped. Its bright core followed the new direction. Slowly, very slowly, the chaotic lines turned into a graceful spiral. But the pressure built faster than expected. The bridge lights dimmed. "We're reaching maximum stress," Mara shouted. Elias's voice remained calm. "A little more." The star flared brilliantly, sending waves of light across the nebula. "Now!" Elias cried. "Release the tether gradually, 5% at a time." The crew worked quickly. The gravitational hold softened step by step. The star stabilized. The violent pulses calmed into a slow, steady rhythm. The nebula glowed with warm, peaceful light, like a sunrise spreading across the darkness. Leora stepped beside Elias. "You did it." He shook his head softly. "We did it. Humans took a risk. We trusted each other. That is our strength." For a moment, everything felt calm. Then the ship received a message from the Aurelian leader. The screen lit up. His expression was full of shock, mixed with something like respect. "Captain Hale," he said slowly, "you saved us." Leora nodded. "We saved each other. Maybe now you understand humanity a little better." The Aurelian turned his gaze to Elias. "And you, Dr. Venn, your method is unlike anything we have ever seen." Elias smiled gently. "Sometimes the universe listens when you speak to it with warmth." The Aurelian did not understand the words completely, but he felt them. Leora knew the battle was not over. The star was safe for now, but the cause of the early ignition remained unknown. Still, she felt proud of her crew, of humanity, and especially of Elias, whose quiet warmth had guided them through chaos. But the greatest tests were still ahead. The nebula dimmed into a calm glow. a sunrise born in fire. The nebula glowed like a soft golden cloud after the chaos had passed. The newborn star pulsed with slow warmth, casting long beams of light across the aurora's path. The storm was over, for the moment. But Captain Leora Hale knew the danger had not vanished. Something had triggered the early ignition, something powerful, something unknown. Elias stood at the main console, studying the new readings. His face was pale from exhaustion, but his eyes held a quiet fire. "The star is stable now," he said softly. "But the energy that pushed it into early ignition is still present." Leora moved beside him. "Is it dangerous?" "Yes," Elias answered. "Very dangerous. It hasn't disappeared. It merely shifted to another region of the nebula." Lieutenant Mara frowned. "So someone, or something, forced the nebula to ignite?" Elias nodded. "And whatever caused it is still here." The bridge fell silent again. They had saved the star, but the real enemy remained hidden in the smoke of cosmic clouds. Leora straightened her shoulders. "We need to find it. Lives depend on it." The aurora's path drifted slowly through the glowing nebula. Bright dust moved around the ship like drifting snow, swirling in the newborn star's soft light. Elias directed the sensors into deeper regions of gas, seeking the source of the unnatural energy. Suddenly, the ship shook with a sharp jolt. Mara shouted, "We're picking up a concentrated energy beam from the eastern cloud." Leora leaned forward. "Identify!" Elias typed quickly. His breath caught. "It's not natural. It's artificial. A device. Something alien." The beam struck again, stronger. The lights flickered. "Shields holding," Mara said, "but not for long." Leora clenched her jaw. "Locate the device." "There!" Elias pointed at the screen. A dark shape floated inside the nebula, surrounded by swirling energy. "It's feeding on the nebula's gases. That device forced the early ignition." "Why would someone attack the conquered capital like this?" Mara asked. Elias looked uneasy. "Maybe not to destroy it. Maybe to test something." Leora stepped closer to the view screen. The device had 6 arms, rotating slowly like petals of a strange metal flower. It glowed with cold blue light. "Prepare weapons," Leora ordered. Mara hesitated. "We're inside a newborn star zone. One wrong shot could destabilize everything again." Leora nodded. She understood the risk. A human mistake here could undo everything they had saved. Elias spoke with calm clarity. "We don't need weapons. We need precision." He brought up a new hologram, an energy pulse pattern. "This device is held together by a resonance field. If we break the pattern at the right moment, it will shut down safely." Leora trusted him completely. "Show us how." The crew followed Elias's calculations. They tuned the ship's energy emitters to match the rhythm of the device. Elias listened to the pulses like he was listening to the heartbeat of a giant creature. "Wait! Wait!" he muttered. Then his voice sharpened. "Now!" Leora gave the command. "Pulse! Fire!" A soft wave of energy left the ship. Not a weapon, not an attack. A carefully shaped pulse that struck the device's center. The device flickered, shook, and then its blue light faded. It drifted silently. Mara exhaled in relief. "It's offline." But they did not celebrate long. Elias checked the readings. His expression darkened. "Captain, this device is not Aurelian, and it's not human." "Then who built it?" Leora asked. Elias shook his head. "I don't know, but whoever they are, they wanted to see if the nebula could be forced into star birth." Mara added, "Like a weapon?" "Or a tool," Elias said. "If you can force a star to ignite early, you can change entire systems, destroy worlds, or create them." Leora felt a cold shiver. The galaxy was full of mysteries, but this one felt too close to home. "Bring the device aboard," she ordered. "We need to study it." The device was secured in the research bay. Leora, Elias, and a small team inspected it carefully. The metal was unlike anything they had seen before. Smooth but sharp, beautiful but dangerous. Elias traced a line on its surface. This technology is centuries ahead of anything in the Concord. Whoever built this knew exactly how to manipulate stellar energy. Leora crossed her arms. And they tested it in the Concord's territory. Why? To send a message? Mara guessed. Elias shook his head. No, this was not a message. This was an experiment. Leora felt tension building inside her. Then the Concord is not the target, the galaxy is. Before anyone could respond, the ship alarms blared again. Mara's voice shouted over the speakers, "Captain, incoming ships, 3 of them, unidentified." Leora sprinted to the bridge. Elias followed close behind. The view screen lit up as 3 dark, angular ships appeared in the nebula, their surfaces shining with the same blue glow as the device. Elias whispered, "They came to retrieve it." The ships formed a tight triangle around the Aurora's path. Mara read the signals. "They're scanning us. No communication, no identification." Leora stood tall. "Raise shields." The enemy ships moved closer, their engines humming like distant thunder. Elias stepped forward, his voice steady but soft. "Captain, they are not here for war. They are here for the device. And we can't give it to them," Leora said. "It's too dangerous." One of the enemy ships charged a weapon. Mara shouted, "They're preparing to fire." Leora kept her voice cool. "Ready countermeasures?" But before either side could shoot, the newborn star pulsed with a sudden burst of energy. A wave of light rolled across the nebula, strong enough to shake all ships. The enemy ships halted, clearly affected by the star's flare. Elias realized it instantly. The star's stabilization created a wave they didn't expect. Their systems are sensitive to this kind of energy. Leora saw an opening. "Can we amplify that wave?" "Yes," Elias said. "If we use the same gravitational tether logic, we can generate a pulse that will disable them but not damage them." "Do it," she said. Elias and Mara worked fast. The ship's gravity modules hummed again. Leora felt the rumble under her feet. "Pulse ready," Mara reported. Elias whispered, 3, 2, 1, release!" The Aurora's path sent a soft, wide energy wave across the nebula. It moved like a warm breeze through glowing clouds. When it reached the enemy ships, their blue lights flickered, then faded. All 3 ships powered down completely. The bridge erupted with relieved cheers. Leora smiled. "Good work, everyone." Elias breathed out slowly. "We used the star to protect itself, humans and nature working together." The enemy ships drifted, powerless but harmless. "We'll tow them to the Concord station," Leora said. "Let the diplomats and scientists study them." Mara nodded. "The Concord will have many questions." Elias looked at the newborn star, glowing gently in the nebula. "And many answers will start here." Hours later, as the Aurora's path prepared to leave the nebula, Leora stood at the observation window. Elias joined her quietly. The new star shone like a small sun, warm and peaceful, a symbol of hope. "You guided it," Leora said softly. "You saved billions today." Elias shook his head gently. "We saved them. Humanity showed something the galaxy rarely sees: courage with kindness, action with warmth. That is what makes us human." Leora looked at him with gratitude. "You always speak like you feel the universe itself." Elias smiled faintly. "I do. Slow, warm, and impossible to ignore." She understood the deeper meaning in his words. His quiet love, for the stars, for humanity, and maybe for her, was not loud or dramatic. It was steady, strong, like sunrise. The nebula brightened as the newborn star released another gentle pulse, spreading golden light across space. a sunrise over a rewritten sky. And humanity, once underestimated, now stood as a guiding force in a galaxy that suddenly felt larger and more mysterious than ever.